The alarm buzzed through the ship. Jake Morrison lifted his head from the navigation console and blinked at the screen. Something was out there in the darkness of space. Something big. "Captain Brooks, we have a signal," Jake called out. His voice echoed in the quiet bridge of the horizon's edge. It was supposed to be a routine day. They were just mapping this sector of space, nothing exciting. But now his screen showed an energy reading unlike anything he had seen before. Captain Helen Brooks walked over to his station. She was a tall woman with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her face always looked calm even when things went wrong. "What kind of signal?" she asked. Jake studied the numbers. "It's not human. The energy pattern is too strange. And it's close. Very close." The captain pressed a button on the wall. "All crew to stations. We may have found something." She turned back to Jake. "Take us closer, slowly." Jake's fingers moved across the controls. The horizon's edge turned and moved toward the signal. As they got closer, something appeared on the visual screen. Jake's mouth fell open. It was a ship, but not like any human ship. It looked like it was made of glass or crystal. The whole thing seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Parts of it were broken and dark. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. "My God," Captain Brooks whispered. "We just made first contact." The bridge erupted with activity. People were talking, running scans, taking pictures. This was the moment humans had dreamed about for hundreds of years. They were not alone in the universe. "The ship is damaged," said Lisa Grant, the medical officer. She was reading data from her console. "I'm picking up life signs, not many. Maybe 5 or 6. Can we board it?" the captain asked. "Yes, but carefully. The structure looks weak in places." Captain Brooks looked around the bridge. Her eyes stopped on Jake. "Morrison, you're with me. Grant, Stevens, get your teams ready. We're going over there." 20 minutes later, Jake stood in the airlock wearing a spacesuit. His heart was beating fast. They were about to meet aliens. Real aliens. Part of him was excited. Part of him was terrified. The airlock opened. They crossed from the horizon's edge to the alien ship on a temporary bridge. Jake stepped through a hole in the crystal hull and gasped. The inside was even more beautiful than the outside. Everything glowed softly. The walls were smooth and curved. It felt more like being inside a living thing than a machine. "Stay together," Captain Brooks ordered, "and keep your weapons ready. We don't know if they're friendly." They moved through the corridors. Jake noticed that the lights got brighter as they walked, like the ship knew they were there. Finally, they reached a large room, and that's when Jake saw them. There were 6 beings in the room. They were tall, taller than humans. Their skin seemed to glow and shimmer with colors. Right now, most of them were showing dark blues and purples. Jake didn't know what that meant, but it looked like sadness. One of them stepped forward. She was the tallest, and her skin glowed brighter than the others. She wore something that looked like a dress made of light. When she moved, colors rippled across her skin like waves on water. She raised her hand. Jake wasn't sure if it was a greeting or a warning. Captain Brooks slowly raised her hand, too. The alien woman touched something on her wrist. A device, then she spoke. The words were musical and strange, but the device on her wrist made a clicking sound and then spoke in English. "We mean no harm. We need help." Jake felt his whole body relax. They could communicate, and they weren't hostile. "We want to help," Captain Brooks said. "What happened to your ship?" The alien woman's skin flashed red for a moment. "We were attacked. By our own people. There was a revolution. They killed my family. They destroyed everything." Her voice through the translator sounded sad and tired. "Who are you?" Jake asked. He couldn't help himself. He needed to know. The woman looked at him. Her eyes were like looking into deep space full of stars. "My name is Arya. I was a princess of the Luminary Empire. But the empire is gone now. Traitors took it. They killed my mother and father. They killed my brothers and sisters. Only I escaped." The colors on her skin shifted to darker shades. The other aliens behind her also darkened. They were all grieving, Jake realized. They had lost everything. Captain Brooks stepped closer. "Princess Arya, I am Captain Helen Brooks of Earth. This is Lieutenant Jake Morrison and Medical Officer Lisa Grant. We will help you. Can we repair your ship?" Arya shook her head. "The damage is too great. The core is dying. Soon the ship will be just floating metal." She paused. Colors rippled across her face. "But that is not the worst problem. The ones who did this are looking for me. They need me alive. I carry something in my blood, in my genes. It is the key to ancient weapons. Weapons that can destroy worlds? If they catch me, they will use those weapons to control the galaxy. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. This was bigger than first contact. This was about the safety of everyone, including Earth. Then you'll come with us, Captain Brooks said firmly. All of you. We'll keep you safe. Arya's skin flashed with gold for a moment. You would do this? You don't know us. We could be dangerous to you. Maybe, the captain said. But we're not the kind of people who leave others to die. Especially not when they're asking for help. For the first time, Arya's skin showed something that looked like warm colors, yellows and soft oranges. Thank you, Captain Brooks of Earth. You may have just saved more than my life. You may have saved many worlds. They helped Arya and her people transfer to the horizon's edge. Jake walked beside Arya. He couldn't stop looking at her. She was alien, completely different from any human, but there was something in her eyes, in the way she moved. She carried herself with dignity even though she had lost everything. What will happen to your ship? Jake asked. It will drift, Arya said, until it falls into a star or crashes on a dead world. It is sad. This ship was built by my grandfather. It carried my family for generations. She touched the crystal wall one last time. Her skin flashed with deep blue. I'm sorry, Jake said. He meant it. Arya looked at him. What is your name again? Jake Morrison. Jake Morrison, she repeated. The translator made his name sound musical. Thank you for your kindness. As they left the dying ship behind, Jake didn't know that his life had just changed forever. He didn't know that in a few short days this alien princess would ask him a question that would shake the entire galaxy. He just knew that something important had started. Something that went beyond ships and space and first contact. Something that felt like destiny. Behind them, the crystal ship's lights flickered and died. And ahead of them, on long-range sensors, something else appeared. More ships. Luminary warships. They were coming. And they were coming fast. The real test was about to begin. Captain Brooks stood in the conference room with her arms crossed. The holographic display showed 3 luminary warships. They were still far away but getting closer every hour. Around the table sat Jake, Lisa Grant, Paul Stevens the engineer, and Princess Arya. They will be here in 24 hours, Arya said quietly. Her skin was showing dark purple colors. They will demand that you give me to them. If you refuse, they will destroy your ship. How many people are on those ships? Paul asked. Each ship carries about 200 warriors. Their weapons are far more advanced than yours. I am sorry, but your ship cannot win against even one of them. Jake watched the captain's face. She didn't look scared. She looked angry. So they expect us to just hand you over? To let them kill you? That is what most species would do, Arya said. It is the logical choice. Why should you die for me? You barely know me. Captain Brooks walked around the table until she stood in front of Arya. Princess, let me tell you something about humans. We're stubborn. We're difficult. And we really don't like bullies. You came to us for help. That means something. But your crew, Arya protested. They have families. Lives. I cannot ask them to die for me. You're not asking, the captain said. I'm deciding. But I won't make this choice alone. She pressed a button. All hands, this is the captain. Report to the main deck. Everyone. 20 minutes later, every crew member of the Horizon's Edge stood on the main deck. There were 43 people in total. Jake stood near the front with Arya beside him. He could feel her nervous energy. Her skin kept shifting colors. Captain Brooks stood on a raised platform where everyone could see her. I'm going to make this simple. We rescued Princess Arya and her people from a damaged ship. Now her enemies are coming. They want her back. If we give her to them, they'll leave us alone. If we don't, they'll attack us, and they're stronger than we are. The room was silent. Every eye was on the captain. I need to know what you all think. This isn't a military ship. You're scientists, engineers, explorers. You didn't sign up to fight a war. So I'm asking, what should we do? A young woman raised her hand. Jake recognized her as Karen Murphy, one of the junior engineers. What will they do to her if we hand her over? Arya stepped forward. They will use me to unlock ancient weapons. Then they will kill me, and then they will use those weapons to conquer other worlds. Many people will die, Karen nodded slowly. Then I vote we protect her. Paul Stevens spoke up. I agree. We can't just give her to them. That's not who we are. One by one, crew members spoke. Some were scared. Some were uncertain. But every single one of them voted the same way. Protect Arya. Don't surrender. Jake felt something warm in his chest. Pride. These were good people. Brave people, Captain Brooks nodded. That's settled then. We fight. Stevens, I need you to work with Arya's people. See if we can boost our weapons or shields. Grant, prepare medical. We might have wounded. Morrison, you're with me. We need to plan a strategy. As the meeting ended, Jake noticed Arya's skin had changed. It was glowing with gold and warm orange colors. She had tears in her eyes. Jake had learned that Luminari cried just like humans did. Why? She whispered to him. Why would they do this? Because it's the right thing to do, Jake said simply. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the battle that was coming. They were going to lose. Everyone knew it. But they were going to try anyway. He went to the observation deck. It was a large room with windows that looked out into space. He liked to come here when he needed to think. He wasn't alone. Arya was there, standing by the window. Her skin was glowing softly in the darkness. Can't sleep either? Jake asked. She turned. I keep thinking about my home. My family, everything is gone. And now I'm going to be responsible for more deaths. Your deaths. Jake walked over to stand beside her. It's not your fault. You didn't ask for any of this. No, but it happened anyway. She looked out at the stars. Tell me about Earth, Jake Morrison. Tell me about your home. So he did. He told her about blue skies and green grass, about oceans and mountains, about cities full of people and quiet farms in the country. He told her about music and art and food. He told her about his family, his mom and dad, and his younger sister. Arya listened to everything. Her skin shifted through gentle colors as he talked. It sounds beautiful, she said. In Luminari culture, princesses are not allowed to choose their own lives. Everything is decided for us. Where we live, who we marry, what we study. I always dreamed of seeing other worlds, of meeting other people. But I was never allowed. What would you have chosen? Jake asked. If you could have picked anything. She smiled. It was the first time Jake had seen her smile. I would have been a teacher. Or maybe an explorer. Something where I could learn about different cultures and share knowledge. Not a princess. Never a princess. You're more than a title, Jake said. You're smart. You're kind. You risked your life to warn us about those weapons. That takes courage. Arya's skin flushed with soft pink colors. Jake had learned that meant she was pleased or embarrassed. You barely know me. I know enough, Jake said. I know you're someone worth protecting. They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. Jake felt something strange. A connection. It didn't matter that she was alien. It didn't matter that they came from different worlds. In this moment, they understood each other. Jake, Arya said softly, what is marriage in human culture? The question surprised him. Marriage? It's when two people decide to spend their lives together. They make promises to each other. To love each other. To support each other. Why do you ask? I have been studying your culture, reading your history. I found something interesting. Sometimes, marriages were used to create alliances between kingdoms, between countries. It was a way to stop wars and bring peace. Yeah, that used to happen a lot. But most people marry for love now, not politics. Arya turned to face him. Her skin was showing colors Jake had never seen before. Swirls of gold and silver and deep blue. There is an old Luminari law. A very old law. If a member of the royal family bonds with someone from another species, both civilizations become allied. There are strict rules. No violence during negotiations. Immediate diplomatic talks. It is a sacred law. Even the new regime cannot ignore it without losing all support. Jake's heart started beating faster. What are you saying? I am saying there might be a way to stop the attack. To save your people. To buy time. She looked into his eyes. But it would require sacrifice. From both of us. Tell me, Jake said. Arya took a deep breath. Her skin shifted through nervous colors. Do you desire me as your wife, human? The words hung in the air between them. Jake felt like the universe had stopped. She was asking him to marry her. An alien princess was asking him, a simple navigator, to marry her. He understood what she was offering. A political marriage, a way to save the ship, a way to stop the war, at least temporarily. It made sense. It was logical. But as he looked at her, standing there with her skin showing every emotion she felt, Jake realized something. He wasn't thinking about politics. He wasn't thinking about saving the ship. He was thinking about her, about how brave she was, about how she carried the weight of her dead family and her destroyed empire, but still thought about saving others, about how she made him feel less alone in the vast emptiness of space. Yes, Jake said. Arya's skin exploded with colors. Brilliant golds and silvers and colors that didn't have names. You mean it. You understand what this means. I understand. We'll be married. Our people will be allies. The warships will have to negotiate instead of attack. I understand all of that. Jake stepped closer. But I also understand something else. What? These last few days talking to you, learning about you. I've felt something. I don't know if it's love yet. But it could be. And that's more than most political marriages start with. So yes, Arya, I desire you as my wife. Tears ran down her face. But she was smiling. Her skin was showing the brightest, warmest colors Jake had ever seen. I hoped you would say yes. Not just because of the politics, but because when I am with you, I feel like I can choose. For the first time in my life, I am choosing, and I choose you. They went to Captain Brooks together. She was in her quarters, studying battle plans that everyone knew wouldn't work. When Jake and Arya explained their plan, the captain sat back in her chair. Marriage, she said. You want to get married? Right now. To stop a war. It's the only way, Arya said. The law is clear. They must negotiate. Captain Brooks looked at Jake. And you're okay with this? This is a big decision. I'm okay with it, Jake said. He reached out and took Arya's hand. Her skin was warm and soft. More than okay. The captain studied them both for a long moment. Then she smiled. All right then. I'm authorized to perform marriages. We'll do it properly. Let me get the crew. An hour later, the entire crew gathered in the main hall. Someone had found flowers from the hydroponics bay. Someone else had set up lights to make the room look special. It wasn't fancy, but it was real. Jake stood at the front in his dress uniform. He was nervous. His hands were shaking. Lisa Grant stood next to him. She had agreed to be his witness. Then Arya entered. She wore a simple white dress that one of the crew members had made. Her skin was glowing with warm, happy colors. She was beautiful. Captain Brooks stood between them. We are here today to witness the union of Jake Morrison of Earth and Princess Arya of the Luminary Empire. This is unusual, to say the least. But then again, everything about this situation is unusual. The crew laughed softly. Jake, do you take Arya as your wife? Do you promise to stand by her, support her, and care for her? I do, Jake said. His voice was strong. Arya, do you take Jake as your husband? Do you promise to stand by him, support him, and care for him? I do, Arya said. Her translator made the words sound musical. Then by the power given to me as captain of this vessel, I declare you married. You may kiss. Jake and Arya looked at each other. They had never kissed before. For a moment, they just stood there. Then Arya leaned forward and pressed her lips to his. Her skin flashed with brilliant gold light. The crew cheered. When they pulled apart, Jake was smiling. Hello, wife. Hello, husband, Arya said. Captain Brooks immediately sent a message to the approaching warships. She explained the situation. There had been a marriage. Earth and the Luminari were now allied. By ancient law, negotiations must begin. The response came quickly. General Keth, the leader of the warships, was furious. His face appeared on the screen. He was a tall Luminari male with skin that flashed angry reds. This is a trick, he shouted. You think this will save you? It's not a trick, Captain Brooks said calmly. It's the law, your law. You must honor it. Keth's skin flashed through many angry colors, but finally he spoke through gritted teeth. Very well. We will negotiate. But know this, Captain. The law requires negotiations. It does not say they must succeed. We will get the princess eventually. The screen went dark. Captain Brooks turned to Jake and Arya. We bought time, but he's right. This isn't over. No, Arya agreed. But now we have a chance. Time to plan. Time to prepare. Time to find allies. Jake squeezed her hand. We'll face it together. Arya's skin glowed with warm colors. Yes, together. That night, Jake and Arya went to the quarters they would now share. It felt strange. They were married but still getting to know each other. They sat on the bed, not quite sure what to do. This is awkward, Jake admitted. Arya laughed. Very awkward. In Luminari marriages, the couple has known each other for years before bonding. We have known each other for days. Do you regret it? Jake asked. No, Arya said immediately. Her skin showed truth colors. blues and greens. I do not regret it, do you? No, Jake said. I meant what I said. I'm glad it's you. They talked through the night. About their fears. About their hopes. About what came next. And slowly the awkwardness faded. They were husband and wife. They were allies. And maybe, just maybe, they were becoming friends too. The negotiations started the next morning. General Keth and his advisors came aboard the Horizon's Edge. They walked through the halls like they owned the place. Jake didn't like them. Their skin showed arrogant colors, reds and harsh oranges. A large conference table had been set up. On one side sat Captain Brooks, Jake, Arya, and Ambassador Richard Cole, who had just arrived from Earth. On the other side sat General Keth and his people. Between them was Lady Vera, a luminary diplomat who was supposed to be neutral. Let us be clear, Keth said. His voice was hard. This marriage changes nothing. The princess is a traitor to the luminary people. She must return to face justice. Justice. Arya's skin flashed angry red. You killed my family. You destroyed everything my ancestors built. And you call that justice? Your family was weak, Keth replied. They allowed the empire to decay. We saved it. You destroyed it, Arya shot back. Captain Brooks held up her hand. Enough, we're not here to argue about the past. We're here because of the law. Princess Arya is now married to one of our people. That makes our civilizations allied. You must respect that, Lady Vera spoke up. Her voice was smooth and calculated. The marriage is questionable. Was it done under duress? Did the human truly understand what he was agreeing to? Perhaps it should be annulled. Jake stood up. I understood perfectly. And I married her because I wanted to. No one forced me. A human, Keth sneered. A primitive species that barely understands space travel. And the princess married one of them. This proves she is unfit to carry the royal bloodline. Careful, Captain Brooks said coldly. You just insulted my crew member. And my species. The negotiations went on for hours. Back and forth. Arguments and counter-arguments. Jake's head was spinning. This wasn't his world. He was a navigator, not a diplomat. Finally, they took a break. Jake and Arya went to the observation deck. She was stressed. Her skin kept flashing through agitated colors. I'm sorry, she said. I dragged you into this mess. Hey, Jake said gently. We're in this together, remember? That's what marriage means. Arya smiled a little, but then her expression grew serious. Jake, there is something I have not told you. About the weapons. About why they need me. What is it? The ancient weapons are hidden on Luminar Prime, our capital world. They can only be accessed by someone with royal blood. But more than that, they require activation through a beacon in the royal palace. If I could reach that beacon first, I could send a message to all Luminari. I could tell them the truth about what happened. I could start a resistance. That's dangerous, Jake said. The palace is probably heavily guarded. Yes, but it might be our only chance to really stop them. Negotiations will only delay things. Eventually, Keth will find a way around the law. We need to act. Over the next few days, Jake and Arya grew closer. They learned about each other's cultures. Arya loved human food. She thought pizza was the greatest invention in the galaxy. Jake learned about luminary art, where they painted with light instead of paint. They also learned about each other. Arya had a quick sense of humor. She liked to make jokes, and her skin would flash with happy colors when Jake laughed. Jake discovered that Arya was incredibly smart. She could solve complex problems in her head that would take him hours with a computer. But there were challenges too. Once Jake said something he thought was nice, but Arya's skin flashed with hurt colors. He had accidentally insulted her in Luminari culture. They had to learn to navigate these differences. Captain Brooks helped. She had been married for 20 years. All relationships take work, she told them one day. It doesn't matter if you're the same species or different. You have to communicate. You have to be patient. And you have to choose each other every day. Ambassador Cole was less helpful. He was excited about the alliance but didn't care much about Jake and Arya as people. He just saw them as political tools. Jake didn't like that. Paul Stevens and Lisa Grant became good friends with the couple. Paul taught Arya about human engineering. She taught him about luminary technology. Together they started working on upgrades for the Horizon's Edge. Lisa taught Arya about human medicine. Arya taught Lisa about luminary biology. One night Jake found Arya crying. Her skin was showing deep blue, the color of profound sadness. What's wrong? He asked, sitting beside her. I miss them, she whispered. My mother, my father, my siblings. I keep thinking about them, about how they died, about how I wasn't there. Jake put his arm around her. She leaned against him. Tell me about them, so she did. She told him about her mother, who was wise and kind, about her father, who loved astronomy, about her brother, who wanted to be a musician, about her sister, who was training to be a healer. They sound wonderful, Jake said. They were, and now they're gone. And I'm here, married to someone I barely know, hiding on a human ship. Sometimes I wonder if this is all real. If maybe I'm going to wake up and find out it was all a nightmare. It's real, Jake said softly. The bad parts and the good parts. But you're not alone anymore. You have me, and you have everyone on this ship. We're your family now, too. Arya looked up at him. Her skin shifted to warm colors. How did I get so lucky to find you? I don't know. But I'm glad you did. They kissed. It was their second kiss. It felt more natural this time. More real. After a week of negotiations, nothing had changed. Keth and his people were just stalling, waiting for something. Jake didn't know what. Then Arya came to him with a plan. I need to go to Luminar Prime. I need to reach that beacon. It's the only way to really stop this. That's suicide, Jake said. You said the palace is heavily guarded. Yes, but I know secret ways in. Tunnels that only the royal family knew about. I can get in, and I can activate the beacon. Then I'm coming with you. No, Arya said firmly. It's too dangerous. We're married, Jake said. That means I go where you go. Besides, you might need help, and humans are pretty good at sneaking around. They argued about it, but Jake wouldn't back down. Finally, Arya agreed, but only if they brought a small team. People they could trust. They told Captain Brooks their plan. She was against it at first. This is too risky. If something happens to you, the Alliance could fall apart. If we don't do this, the Alliance doesn't matter, Arya argued. Keth will find a way around it eventually. We need to take the fight to them. The captain thought for a long time. Then she nodded. All right, but I'm coming with you. And we're taking a full team. They selected their team carefully. Captain Brooks, Jake, Arya, Paul Stevens, and Chris Murphy, a tactical officer. They would also meet with resistance fighters on Luminar Prime. Arya had made contact with them secretly. Her childhood friend Zara was part of the resistance. The Earth government approved the mission. They gave the Horizon's Edge new weapons and shields. Not as good as Luminari technology, but better than what they had. Arya helped Paul install them. These are clever, Arya said, looking at the human weapons. Not as powerful as ours, but creative. Humans think differently than Luminari. That might give us an advantage. The night before they left, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about all the things that could go wrong. They could be captured, killed. The mission could fail. Arya found him staring out the window. She sat beside him without saying anything, just being there. I'm scared, Jake admitted. Me too, Arya said. I keep thinking about my family, my mom and dad, my sister. If I die, they'll never know what happened to me. They'll just know I disappeared in space. Arya took his hand. Then we won't die. We'll survive. We'll complete the mission. And when this is all over, I will meet your family. I want to see Earth. I want to know where you came from. And I want to see Luminar Prime, not as an enemy, but as your husband. I want to see your home. Then we have reasons to survive, Arya said. Her skin glowed with determined colors. We have a future to live for. They held each other. Tomorrow they would leave for Luminar Prime. Tomorrow they would risk everything. But tonight they had each other. In Luminari tradition, Arya gave Jake a small crystal. It was from her family's collection. This is a piece of crystallized light. It represents my heart. Carry it with you. Keep it safe. Jake gave her his grandfather's old compass. This helped my grandfather find his way home during a war on Earth. May it help you find your way too. They exchanged these gifts and made promises, not just the marriage promises they had made before. New promises, personal promises, to protect each other, to trust each other, to face whatever came next together. The next morning, the Horizon's Edge left the neutral zone. They were heading toward Luminar Prime, toward danger, toward possible death, but also toward hope. General Keth's ships tried to follow them, but the Horizon's Edge was faster with its new upgrades. They slipped into hyperspace and disappeared. Keth's face appeared on every Luminari communication channel. The traitor princess and her human pets are fleeing. They have broken the negotiation terms. When we find them, they will be destroyed. But Arya wasn't fleeing. She was attacking. She was taking the fight to them. And she wasn't alone. As they traveled through hyperspace, Arya taught the team about Luminar Prime, about the palace, about the beacon, about what they would face. The beacon is in the heart of the palace, she explained, in a room called the Chamber of Light. It was built by my ancestors thousands of years ago. Only someone with royal blood can activate it. What will the message do? Captain Brooks asked. It will broadcast to every luminary in the Empire. It will tell them what really happened. About the coup, about the murders, about Keth's lies. Many luminary are good people. They were lied to. When they know the truth, they will rise up. So we start a revolution, Jake said. Yes, Arya confirmed. We start a revolution. The ship flew on through the darkness of space, toward war, toward hope, toward destiny. Jake held Arya's hand and knew that whatever happened next, they would face it together, because that's what it meant to be married. That's what it meant to choose each other, not just in words but in actions, in sacrifice, in courage. The horizon's edge dropped out of hyperspace near Luminar Prime. The planet was beautiful. It glowed with soft blue light, but it was also heavily defended. Dozens of warships orbited it. This is it, Captain Brooks said. Point of no return. Jake looked at Arya. Her skin was showing brave colors, golds and silvers. She was ready. Then let's not return, Jake said. Let's finish this. The mission had begun. They met Zara in a dark alley on the outskirts of the capital city. She was tall like Arya, but her skin showed different patterns, more scars, more pain. When she saw Arya, her skin flashed with joy and sadness at the same time. My princess, Zara whispered, embracing her. I thought I would never see you again. I'm here, Arya said, and I brought help. Zara looked at the humans. Her skin shifted to curious colors. These are the humans everyone is talking about. The ones you married. Her eyes settled on Jake. You must be the husband. Jake Morrison, he said, offering his hand. Zara looked at the hand with confusion. Arya laughed. It's a human greeting. You shake it. Zara carefully took Jake's hand and shook it. Her skin flashed with amused colors. Humans are strange. You have no idea, Jake said with a smile. Zara led them through the underground tunnels. These were old maintenance passages that ran under the entire city. The Resistance used them to move around unseen. How many are in the Resistance? Captain Brooks asked. Thousands, Zara said. Maybe tens of thousands. But we are scattered, afraid. Many have been executed. Keth's people are everywhere. They watch everyone. Trust no one. They reached a hidden room where other Resistance fighters waited. About 20 luminari, all showing nervous colors. When Arya entered, they all bowed. My people, Arya said, please stand. I am not here as a princess. I am here as one of you, as someone who wants to free our world. An older luminari male stepped forward. Your Highness, we heard you married a human. Is this true? It is true, Arya said. She took Jake's hand. This is my husband, Jake Morrison. He and his people have risked everything to help us. The old male studied Jake. A human. I never thought I would see one. They say humans are violent, dangerous. We can be, Jake admitted. But we can also be loyal, and we keep our promises. Then you are more honorable than many luminari I know, the old male said. They spent hours planning the assault. The palace was heavily guarded, but Zara knew about old service tunnels. They were small and dangerous, but they could get a team inside. Once we're in, we head straight for the Chamber of Light, Arya explained. I activate the beacon. The message goes out. Then we get out as fast as we can. What about the guards? Chris Murphy asked. He was their tactical expert. There will be many, Zara said. But the humans have brought weapons. And we have weapons too. We will fight. We need a distraction, Captain Brooks said. Something to draw the guards away from the palace. Leave that to us, the old male said. We have been planning an uprising for months. We were just waiting for a signal. This will be our signal. When you enter the palace, we will attack the military barracks, the guard towers, the government buildings. We will make so much noise they won't know where to look. The plan was set. They would move at dawn. The Resistance would create chaos in the city. The team would infiltrate the palace. Arya would activate the beacon. That night, Jake and Arya found a quiet corner. They knew this might be their last night together. Are you afraid? Arya asked. Terrified, Jake admitted. but also excited. Is that weird? No, I feel the same way. Her skin shifted through complex colors. Jake, if something happens to me tomorrow, I want you to know something. Don't talk like that. Listen, please. She took both his hands. When I asked you to marry me, I thought it was just for the alliance, for the law. But these past weeks with you have been the happiest of my life. I was never allowed to choose anything before, but I chose you, and I would choose you again. Every time, Jake felt tears in his eyes. I love you, Arya. I didn't plan to. I didn't expect to, but I do. I love you. Her skin exploded with brilliant colors. I love you too, Jake Morrison. My husband, my choice, my heart. They held each other through the night, not saying much. Just being together. If tomorrow brought death, at least they had tonight. At least they had this moment. Dawn came too quickly. The team gathered at the tunnel entrance. Captain Brooks, Jake, Arya, Zara, Chris Murphy, and 3 resistance fighters. They were armed with a mix of human and luminary weapons, remember, Brooks said. We stay together. We watch each other's backs. We get in, activate the beacon, and get out. No heroes, they all nodded. The tunnel was dark and narrow. They had to crawl in some places. Jake's heart was pounding. His hands were sweaty, but Arya was beside him, her skin glowing faintly to light the way. Above them, they heard explosions. The resistance had begun their attack. Sirens wailed. Guards shouted. It was working. The city was in chaos. They emerged inside the palace. The crystal walls were beautiful even in the dim light. Arya's face showed pain. I grew up here, she whispered. I played in these halls as a child. Then let's take it back, Jake said. They moved quickly through the corridors. Twice they encountered guards. Both times Chris Murphy took them down before they could raise the alarm. The man was good at his job. They reached a large door made of solid crystal. Arya placed her hand on it. The door recognized her genetic signature and slid open. The chamber of light, Arya breathed. The room was enormous. The walls, floor, and ceiling were all made of crystal. In the center stood a tall pillar that glowed with inner light. It was beautiful and ancient and powerful. Arya walked toward it. But then alarms started blaring. Lights flashed, and guards poured into the room from every entrance. It's a trap, Zara shouted. General Keth walked in surrounded by elite guards. His skin showed triumphant colors. Did you really think I didn't know about the old tunnels? I let you come here, Princess. I wanted you here. Now I can kill you and your human pets all at once. Fire! Captain Brooks shouted. The chamber erupted in chaos. Human weapons fired their kinetic rounds. Luminary weapons sent beams of energy. The crystal walls reflected and magnified everything. It was blinding and deafening. Jake grabbed Arya and pulled her toward the pillar. Go, activate it! But the guards, we'll handle them. Go, Arya ran for the pillar. Keth saw her and roared with anger. He raised his weapon, but Jake was faster. He fired his weapon, hitting Keth in the shoulder. The general fell back, his skin flashing with pain. Chris Murphy was fighting 3 guards at once. He was wounded but still fighting. One of the resistance fighters was down, not moving. Zara was back to back with Captain Brooks firing at anything that moved. Arya reached the pillar. She placed both hands on it. The crystal recognized her. It glowed brighter and brighter. Then suddenly the whole room exploded with light. The beacon had activated. Arya's voice, amplified by the ancient technology, broadcast across every luminary communication device in the Empire. My people, I am Princess Arya. I speak to you from the royal palace. General Keth and his followers murdered my family. They lied to you. They told you it was necessary for the Empire, but they only wanted power. I have proof. I have recordings. Watch, see the truth. Images flooded across every screen in the Empire. Keth ordering the execution of Arya's family. Keth planning to use the ancient weapons for conquest. Keth laughing about deceiving the luminary people. Keth roared in fury. Stop her! Destroy the pillar! But it was too late. The message was out, and across Luminar Prime, across the entire Empire, Luminari were seeing the truth. They were angry. They were betrayed. They were rising up. Then something happened that no one expected. The lights in the chamber went out. All of them. Complete darkness. What's happening? Someone shouted. Jake realized what it was. Paul Stevens had done it. He had used the human EMP technology. It was designed to disrupt Luminari systems. The guards depended on their technology for night vision, for targeting, for everything. But humans had learned to fight in the dark. Hit the floor. Jake shouted. He pulled Arya down. Chaos erupted. In the darkness, the humans had the advantage. They were used to fighting without technology. They could hear, feel, sense where the enemy was. Captain Brooks fought like a demon. She had been a soldier before she was a captain. She moved through the darkness, taking down guards with brutal efficiency. But then Jake heard her cry out, a sound of pain. He crawled toward her in the darkness. His hands found her. She was badly wounded. Captain. Jake shouted, "I'm fine," she gasped. "Get Arya out. Complete the mission. I'm not leaving you." "That's an order, Lieutenant." The light started to flicker back on. The luminary technology was rebooting. They didn't have much time. Jake saw Arya near the pillar. She was protecting it, making sure the broadcast continued. Her skin was showing fierce, determined colors. He also saw Keth. The general was wounded but still alive, and he was raising his weapon toward Arya. Jake didn't think. He just ran. He threw himself in front of Arya just as Keth fired. The energy beam hit Jake in the side. Pain exploded through his body. He fell. "Jake!" Arya screamed. Everything was happening too fast. Zara tackled Keth. Captain Brooks, despite her wounds, stood up and helped. Chris Murphy was laying down covering fire. The remaining resistance fighters were holding off the other guards. Arya dropped to her knees beside Jake. Her skin was showing colors of pure terror. "No, no, no! Stay with me. Please stay with me." Jake could barely see. Everything was fading. Did it work? The beacon? Yes, the message is out. The whole Empire knows the truth. Good, Jake whispered. That's good. Don't you dare die on me, Arya said. Tears were streaming down her face. We just found each other. We were supposed to have a future, children, a life together. We will, Jake said. Just might take a minute. His eyes closed. Outside the palace, the city was erupting in revolution. Luminari were fighting Luminari, but more and more were turning against Keth's forces. The truth had set them free. Inside the chamber, the fight was ending. Most of Keth's guards were down. Keth himself was captured, held by Zara and Captain Brooks. But Jake Morrison lay still on the crystal floor, his blood pooling beneath him. Arya held him, her skin cycling through every color of grief and desperation. Get him to the ship, Captain Brooks ordered, clutching her own wounds. Now, Lisa can save him, move! They carried Jake through the tunnels, through the fighting in the streets. Luminari saw them and let them pass. They saw Arya, their princess, carrying a wounded human. They saw what she had sacrificed for them. The horizon's edge was waiting. Lisa Grant was ready with medical equipment. She worked on Jake for hours. The whole crew waited, praying, hoping. Finally, Lisa came out. She looked exhausted. He's alive. Barely. But he's alive. Arya's skin flashed with relief so bright it hurt to look at. She ran into the medical bay and took Jake's hand. He was unconscious, but he was breathing. You stubborn human, she whispered. You saved me. You actually jumped in front of an energy beam for me. That was the stupidest, bravest thing I've ever seen. She stayed by his side. She wouldn't leave. Not for food, not for sleep. She just held his hand and waited for him to wake up. Down on the planet, the revolution was spreading. More and more Luminari were joining the resistance. Keth's forces were collapsing. The truth had broken their power. The beacon continued to broadcast. Arya's message played over and over. And slowly the Empire began to change. But Arya didn't care about any of that right now. She just cared about the human lying in the medical bay, the human who had become her husband. Her choice. Her love. Wake up, she whispered. Please wake up. I need you. We still have so much to do, so much to see. Don't leave me alone. Not now. Jake's fingers twitched. His eyes started to flutter. And Arya's skin glowed with colors of hope. Jake opened his eyes. Everything hurt. His whole body felt like it was on fire. But he was alive. Jake? Arya's voice. He turned his head and saw her. Her skin was showing so many colors at once, relief, joy, love, all mixed together. Hey, he croaked. His throat was dry. Arya burst into tears. She pressed her face against his chest and cried. Her skin pulsed with colors he had never seen before. Pure, overwhelming emotion. You scared me, she sobbed. You almost died. You jumped in front of an energy beam. What were you thinking? I was thinking I love you, Jake said. And I wasn't going to let him hurt you. She looked up at him. You foolish, wonderful human. Don't ever do that again. No promises, Jake said with a weak smile. Lisa Grant came in. You're awake. Good. You've been out for 3 days. 3 days? Jake tried to sit up but immediately regretted it. The pain was intense. Stay down, Lisa ordered. You were hit by a luminary energy weapon. It almost killed you. You're lucky Arya's people were able to provide medical technology. Human medicine alone couldn't have saved you. Over the next few days, Jake recovered slowly. He learned what had happened while he was unconscious. The revolution had succeeded. Keth's forces had collapsed. The luminary people, learning the truth, had risen up across the entire empire. Keth himself was being held by the resistance. They wanted to execute him. But Arya had refused. We will not become what he was, she had said. We will have justice, not revenge. Captain Brooks was also recovering. She had been badly wounded in the fight but would survive. Chris Murphy had died. He had held off guards to let the others escape. They had a memorial service for him. The entire crew attended. Arya learned about human funeral customs and cried for a man she had barely known. Because that's what humans did. They mourned together. When Jake was finally able to walk, Arya took him to the observation deck. Through the window they could see Luminar Prime. The planet was peaceful now. The fighting had stopped. My people want me to return as Empress, Arya said quietly. Jake's heart sank. Are you going to? I don't know. I never wanted to be a ruler. But maybe now I can rule differently. Not as a dictator. As a servant. The Empire will become a commonwealth. Every world will have a voice. We will work together, not through force but through cooperation. That sounds like a lot of work, Jake said. It is, and I cannot do it alone. She turned to face him. Jake Morrison, will you stand beside me? Not just as my husband, but as my partner? Help me rebuild what was destroyed? Jake looked into her eyes. Those incredible star-filled eyes. You know I will, always, they kissed. It was their first kiss since Jake had woken up. It felt like coming home. The coronation was unlike any in Luminary history. It was held not in the palace but in the city square. Thousands of Luminari attended, but also humans. The crew of the Horizon's Edge stood in the front row. Arya wore traditional royal robes, but she had insisted on adding something new. A sash made from human fabric, blue and white, the colors of Earth's flag, a symbol of the Alliance. The ceremony was conducted by Zara, who had been appointed as the first chancellor of the new Commonwealth. She spoke about the old empire and its fall, about the sacrifices made, about the new future they were building. Princess Arya, Zara said, do you accept the responsibility of leading the Luminary Commonwealth? Do you promise to serve the people, not rule over them? Do you promise to seek peace, justice, and cooperation with all species? I do, Arya said. Her voice was strong. Then by the will of the people, I name you Empress Arya, first of the Commonwealth. The crowd erupted in cheers. Their skin showed brilliant, happy colors. After so much pain and war, they finally had hope. Jake stood beside Arya. He was named Prince Consort. Some Luminari didn't like that. A human with a royal title? It was unthinkable. But most accepted it. Jake had proven himself. He had risked his life for their princess. For their world. After the ceremony, there was a celebration. Music played. Luminari and humans mingled. It was strange and wonderful. Two species learning about each other, finding common ground. Captain Brooks found Jake at the celebration. She was still healing but insisted on attending. How are you feeling, Morrison? Like I got hit by an energy beam, Jake said with a smile. Well, you did. Brooks looked serious. I want you to know something. You did good work down there. You saved lives, including mine. I'm proud of you. Coming from Brooks, that meant everything. Thank you, Captain. There's something else. Command has offered me a new position. The Horizon's Edge is going to become a joint human luminary vessel, a symbol of our alliance. They want me to captain it. I said yes. That's great, Jake said. They also want you to serve as first officer, if you're interested. Jake looked over at Arya. She was talking with diplomats, her skin showing diplomatic colors. Patient. Thoughtful. She caught his eye and smiled. I don't know, Jake said. Arya needs me here. Talk to her, Brooks said. You might be surprised. Later, Jake and Arya walked through the palace gardens. They were beautiful. Crystal trees that glowed softly in the night. Flowers that changed colors. Captain Brooks offered me a position, Jake said. First officer on the horizon's edge. But I told her I need to stay here. With you? Arya stopped walking. Jake, you cannot give up your life for me. I will not allow it. But you're the Empress. You need support, yes, but I also have thousands of advisors, diplomats, helpers. You are a space explorer. That is who you are. Don't lose yourself because of me. But we're married. Don't we need to be together? Arya smiled. Who says we won't be? Jake, the Commonwealth needs to build relationships with other species. I need ambassadors. People who can travel to other worlds and represent us. What if you did that? Travel on the horizon's edge, but as my official representative. We would be apart sometimes, but we would both be doing what we're meant to do. Jake thought about it. You've really thought this through, haven't you? I have been planning this for days. While you were unconscious, her skin showed playful colors. I am not just a pretty face, you know. I never thought you were, Jake said, pulling her close. I think you're brilliant, and I think your plan is perfect. They decided to split their time. Jake would serve on the horizon's edge, traveling the galaxy as the Commonwealth's ambassador. But he would return home regularly. Home was wherever Arya was. 6 months passed. The Commonwealth was thriving. Old enemies were becoming friends. Humans and Luminari were working together. Technology was being shared. Culture was being exchanged. Jake traveled to many worlds. He met many species. Some were friendly. Some were suspicious. But slowly, Earth and the Commonwealth were building a network of allies. Whenever he returned to Luminar Prime, Arya was there waiting. Her skin would flash with joy when she saw him. They would spend days together, talking about everything they had seen and done. One day, Arya told Jake something that changed everything. I'm pregnant. Jake's mind went blank. You're what? Pregnant. With child. We are going to have a baby. Her skin was showing colors of excitement and nervousness, but is that even possible? We're different species. It is rare, but possible. The doctors have confirmed it. Our child will be unique. Half human, half Luminari. A true symbol of our alliance. Jake sat down. He was going to be a father. The idea was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Are you happy about this? Yes, Arya said without hesitation. I am terrified but happy. Are you? Yeah, Jake said, a smile spreading across his face. Yeah, I really am. They decided to visit Earth. Arya wanted to meet Jake's family, and she wanted their child to know both cultures. The trip to Earth was exciting. Arya had never been to a human world. When they landed, she was overwhelmed. The blue sky, the green plants, the smell of fresh air. It's so beautiful, she breathed. Her skin cycled through amazed colors. Jake's family lived in a small town in the countryside. His mother cried when she saw him. His father hugged him hard. His sister punched his arm and called him an idiot for not calling more often. And then Jake introduced them to Arya. There was a moment of awkward silence. His mother stared at Arya's glowing skin. His father looked confused. His sister's mouth fell open. Then his mother stepped forward and hugged Arya. Welcome to the family, dear. Arya's skin flashed with surprised, happy colors. Thank you. I am honored to meet you. They spent a week on Earth. Arya tried human food and loved most of it. She experienced rain for the first time and laughed with delight. She met Jake's childhood friends and learned about his past. She saw where he grew up, went to school, dreamed about the stars. Jake's mother pulled him aside one day. She's wonderful, Jake. Different, but wonderful. And she loves you. I can see it in every color she shows. I love her too, Mom. More than I thought possible. Then hold on to that. Love across any distance, any difference is rare. Treasure it. When they returned to Luminar Prime, they were both changed. They had seen each other's worlds. Understood where they came from. It brought them even closer. The baby was born on a quiet morning. Half human, half Luminari. A beautiful child with skin that glowed softly and eyes that held both starlight and Earth's warmth. They named her Hope. When Jake held his daughter for the first time, he cried. This tiny being was proof that love could bridge any gap, that different species could build a future together. Arya looked exhausted but happy. Her skin showed every shade of love and contentment. She's perfect. She is, Jake agreed. Captain Brooks came to visit, along with half the crew of the Horizon's Edge. Lisa Grant cried when she held Hope. Paul Stevens made a toy that glowed and changed colors. Zara brought traditional luminary gifts for the baby. The Commonwealth celebrated. Their empress had produced an heir, a child of two worlds, a symbol of everything they were trying to build. But for Jake and Arya, it wasn't about symbols. It was about their daughter, about the family they had created, about the love they shared. One night, when Hope was sleeping, Jake and Arya stood on their balcony. Below them, the city glowed with soft light. Above them, stars filled the sky. "Do you ever regret it?" Arya asked. "Saying yes that night? Marrying me? All of this?" Jake put his arm around her. "Not once. Not even for a second. You asked me if I desired you as my wife. I said yes. And I would say yes again, every single time, even though it meant war, pain, almost dying, even then, because it also meant this, us, our daughter, our future. That's worth any price." Arya leaned against him. Her skin glowed with content colors. "The galaxy is changing, Jake. Humans and Luminari working together are inspiring other species. There's talk of forming a real galactic council, a place where all species can meet and discuss problems peacefully. That's good. That's what we hoped for. Yes, but it is also scary. There will be challenges. Species that don't want change. People who fear what we represent. We must be ready. Then we'll face it," Jake said. Together, like we always do. They stood there for a long time watching the stars, thinking about the future, about the challenges that would come, about the joy they had found in each other. Inside, Hope made a small sound. They went to her immediately. She wasn't crying, just making baby noises. Her skin was showing soft, sleepy colors. "She has your eyes," Arya said. "And your spirit," Jake replied. They stayed with their daughter, watching her sleep. Two beings from different worlds who had found each other across the vast emptiness of space, who had chosen love over logic, who had built a future where none seemed possible. The horizon's edge sat in orbit above Luminar Prime. In a few days, Jake would board her again. There were new worlds to explore, new species to meet, new challenges to face, but he would always come home. To Arya, to Hope, to the family they had built against all odds, because that's what love meant. Not being together every moment, but choosing each other every day, supporting each other's dreams, building something bigger than either of them alone could create. Out in the galaxy, ships from a dozen species were heading toward a neutral station. The first meeting of the new Galactic Council. Arya would attend as Empress of the Luminary Commonwealth. Jake would attend as Earth's representative and as her husband. Together, they would help shape the future of the galaxy. Not through war or conquest, but through cooperation, understanding, love. As the sun rose over Luminar Prime, painting the crystal city in shades of gold and pink, Jake held his wife and daughter close. The future was uncertain. Challenges would come. Darkness would threaten, but they had each other. They had hope, and that was enough. Arya looked up at him. "Do you think we can really make this work? All of us together?" Jake smiled. "We already did the impossible once. Everything after is just details," she laughed. Her skin flashed with affection and hope, and together, hand in hand, they walked toward the new day, toward whatever challenges awaited, toward a future they would build together. Because when an alien princess asks if you desire her as your wife and you say yes, you're not just accepting a marriage. You're accepting a destiny, a purpose, a chance to change the galaxy, and Jake Morrison wouldn't change it for anything in the universe.